So let's circle back and let's talk about initiation. Initiation is very important, but contrary to popular belief, to be initiated, you don't have to be initiated into a system that's already established. While that is a type of initiation, the actual definition of initiation is, the same one that you get out the dictionary. Initiation starts you upon a path. So we know, due to the nature of the universe and the law of cause and effect, nothing out here is independent. Everything is this whole universe, this whole reality is a big, ever-flowing stream of data and information. Everything's connected, and the separations that we place in between these data points or this information is only so we'll have some way to ground it in our reality. But you learn it in math. A point has no dimensions, or a line only has one dimension, up and down, but the width of the line doesn't exist. So when you see a line separating something, you have to understand that division is, by universal law, it's not real. So going back to what initiation is, there's nothing in your life that you can pinpoint and say, hey, this is my initiation. This is what started me along the way of getting X, Y, and Z. Because like I just said, everything contributes to where you are now, including the times where you weren't cognizant of those initiations. So that means we're constantly going through initiations. So if we're constantly going through initiations, how come our lives may or may not be reflecting these initiations that everybody by law has to go through? By universal law, you have to go through. The problem is because most people aren't in control of their mind. They're being initiated, but they're being initiated onto paths or being carried along into paths that they don't know that they're being carried along on. So whether the path is positive or negative, the fact that they're not aware of it means that inevitably there's a minimum amount of mistakes and blunders that have to go on, a minimum amount of time wasted in a waste factor that's just going to be. So to add more intention to your initiations and actually have a say in what you're being initiated into, you have to consciously choose the imaginary point in your life where you are now and where you want to end up. You have to consciously pair that timeline with a goal in your mind. So, for example, if I don't have a school or a magical system that I can, get into, one thing that I can do is I can say, okay, I'm going to commit myself to going to the gym every day this month. Win, lose, or draw, whether I get my desired income or not, I'm going to the gym for 30 days in a row, period. Now, in my mind, I might use this to say, okay, I want to learn to astral project in 30 days. So to make this intention and this initiation go the way that you want it to do, you have to decide, hey, I'm going to use this as my initiation to learn to astral project. But the key to making it work is you have to be willing to go through that, regardless of whether or not it's actually going to turn out and give you what you want it to do. Or in other words, you have to find some enjoyment in the journey to where you're trying to go. And you have to be able to lock into that gym, even when you're not seeing progress, even when you're not seeing, even when the universe isn't giving you signs and synchronicities to convince you that you're on the right path. That's when you need to convince yourself. That's a test. And the more that you stick with it and you say, you know what, I don't care, I'm just going to finish it out. In order to stay sane, you're going to have to cut off the expectations. That's the only way. That's the only way you're going to be able to complete it, especially if it's something that you want to do for a year. You know what I'm saying? And the more that you set yourself out to complete things, regardless of the result, the more that you will be able to look back when these 30-day, 1 year periods are over, and you'll be able to say, damn, not only did I get what I want, because you don't always get what you want. So you might not. Even if I didn't get what I want originally, I gained 10 times what I would have gained if I didn't go through that. And 10 times out of 10, what you gain through that initiation is actually what you need. You thought that you needed to learn to astral project, but in reality, your higher spirit you really need to learn to stop being a hater. You really need to learn to just stop talking so much and having so much self-chatter in your head, negative or positive. Or you really need to learn to stop being a hermit and get dressed and go out every now and then. You really need to learn to ground yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, so when you commit yourself to self-improvement and you accept the possibility that you might fail, but you say, fuck it, I'm doing it anyway, that is the mindset that produces success in initiation. So I just wanted to drop y'all with that. Just, a little bit longer than I wanted it to be, but you can take power over your own magical journey by consciously picking and choosing your initiations and letting it go and deciding that I'm going to do this regardless if I get what I want out of what my lower self wants out of it or not. Because at the end of the day, my higher self is in control and it will never lead me astray.